Hi, and welcome to Kollate-It, where you can integrate, customize, automate, and store your compliance, risk, and audit activities all in one spot. In this video, we're going to be looking at tasks and registers. Kollate-It has a number of registers available for use. You may decide to use all or only some of them. You can also switch off registers that don't apply to you. The registers can be configured on a compliance framework. The defaults for this are obtained from the compliance template settings . The default registers can also be set in the compliance templates you use in adding a compliance framework. After creating a new compliance framework based on the system default template, it is important to check the registers are correct on a compliance framework prior to activating it. Once the compliance framework is active, you can add items to each register. Navigate to an obligation to add the item. If you are adding the item to a requirement or compliance framework, you will need to select the obligation it is for. You can also set up and assign tasks that need to be done for the compliance framework, requirement, or obligation. Before activating it, tasks can only be set up at the framework level. The task register records all tasks assigned in the business, person assigned, responsible person, risk allocation, timings for completion, and parties involved. The Authorised Representatives Register provides a centralised spot to record all licensed agents that work under your control and supervision. The register includes the name, appointment date, role authority given to them, and status, including whether they are terminated or still currently appointed. The Alternative Forms of Remuneration Register is about recording soft dollar arrangements. In other words, non-money transactions in doing business, such as gifts, holidays, or other benefit forms for doing business that are allowed by law. The risk includes the date, amount involved, parties involved, responsible person for monitoring, risk rating, breach reporting requirements, and control measures and date resolved. The Conflicts Register records conflicts and relationships made that may not be arm's length but are allowed by law. It records the date of conflict event, responsible person involved, and date resolved. Please note that some conflicts don't always have a resolution date depending upon the conflict type, as a conflict could be an ongoing event for reporting with a risk rating attached to it to monitor the conflict. Risks can be set up directly from the obligation or created from a register item by setting the risk likelihood and consequence. As we set the risk likelihood and consequence on the conflict, a risk was automatically created. You can open the risk on the Risks tab and change its detail. For each risk, you can record any controls. The Risk Register provides for identification of all risk across your business based upon your activities and events that affect your business. The Complaints Register is used to record all complaints. The register records who made the complaint, the date it was made, it triggers timing for responding, the date the complaint was received, the matter for concern, whether there is a breach that triggers a report to the breach register, any external party involved, such as complaints resolution body, the date resolved, and date insurer is notified if that is required. The register also allows for a risk rating to be assigned by a user to the complaint for trend analysis and reporting. The outsourcing register provides details of major or material contracts with service providers, including the date of appointment, specifics on contract supplier, responsible person dealing with the supplier, and allows for attachments to centralise contracts management. The incident register identifies matters that occur in the business that might be one-off or ongoing that are not breaches. However, some incidents do become breaches. This register records date of the incident, responsible person involved for rectification, and the date resolved. The incident includes the ability to assign a risk rating for reporting to management. Also, each register item can say if it causes a breach. A breach will automatically be created. The breach register records all breaches across your business. This is an important register given the business can understand the direct impacts that can affect your operations. The breach register records the event date of a breach, who found it, who will action the breach, and date of rectification. Users can attach documents on the breach and assign a risk rating to the breach. The breach was automatically added and we can change any of its details.